Hello, and welcome to this edition of Energy Connects Discussions with me, Julian Walker, as I speak to leading energy executives and experts around the world for Energy Connects, our global platform for the entire energy industry. Today, I'm really delighted to welcome Ali Khalifa Al Shamsi, the Director General of Emarat. Thank you so much for joining me.
It's my pleasure, and it's my opportunity just to share with you what's really going on, these days and also really a couple of months ago. So,
Absolutely. And I think, we've got a lot to discuss. But first, I think it would be really nice for our audience to get to know you first. Over your long, distinguished career, what are the three most important lessons that you've learned?
I think, being in this industry for almost than, I would say, 32 years, and also, HSC is really the most and critical important that we are really dealing with because we are really dealing with in product that well known and the safety record of every organization is really at stake. Our strategy really in Emarat and also with others is really try to be predictive. We don't want that accident to happen, but the challenge is really how to really anticipate and make sure that everything is really in a good orders, because once the accident unfortunately has happened, it's all about how to rectify it and how to really to manage the damage. So it's really part of Emarat really culture and DNA.
Absolutely. And what are your priorities, as you mentioned there, since you joined Emarat?
Well, I think I have been in the major oil and gas company ADNOC, and ADNOC is really also very major seas, and have been really you know uh, work with many divisions from upstreams, strategies, you know dealing with CEO office and also CEO. But time has come really to change the career and really deep dive into really downstreams, which is really mean dealing with refined products.
Yeah, interesting. And I look forward later on in the interview to hear more about, what your business practices are in the downstream and the retail industries. Before we go into that, you obviously highlighted, which obviously a lot of industry professionals do, is HSE. And, how important is HSE to Emarat, and how does Emarat approach HSE with your staff, business partners, customers?
I think HSC is really, as we mentioned, is really the cornerstone of our operations because, as I said, we are always really dealing with very inflammable products. So in Emarat, we have really put a standard and procedures. In fact, we have already really, you know, uh, make them really more strengthened because if we look at, for example, what has happened during COVID, we have really been able really to, put Emarat, at the forefront in terms of really educating our Emirati staff, dealing with a different kind of customer that even they don't know about the consequences of those COVID, and really comply with the rule and you're really maintaining the protocol. So we have really established a series of messages, tweaks to ensure that the safety of the staff is our safeties, and even the people on the front lines, because they are really the exposure, make sure they are really well trained, fully vaccinated, and really make sure that they are really dealing with others. So that really was the main focus. And when you look and you compare with the others, I think we have really done a very fantastic job.
I'd be interested, hearing about your background now to sort of look for Emarat and preparing for the future. As we all know, the energy industry is changing. And I'd like to sort of get your viewpoints on where you think the sort of fuel retail industries is going and how Emarat is looking to focus on the future.
As we said, that we are really in a landscape of the energy. We have seen really the price of oil that have been really exceeded that we never really experienced before. And for us, because we are really dealing with the front, people, so people will always blame why the price is high. But we are really in a nation and a country that we are really have an open economy. So we have really to deal with those, the market fluctuation. For us is really try to make sure that we are really addressing all these issues, and we hope those are not going to last longer because it's not really good for everybody. For sure, maybe Emarat and other are really benefiting, but we have to really convey the message why the brands have really gone that much. So there must be a reason. So for us, we are trying really to balance, the supply and the demand issues.
And how important is gas for Emarat and for the energy business?
Emarat have been blessed with different really product lines. The retail station is really the main core of our business. But also you are dealing with LPG, which is really liquefied petroleums. We are also dealing with the, gas distribution. So the gas really is an integral part where Emarat also have really an extensive, pipeline that really goes, and extend to almost 300, 32 line kilometers. And those are really, we become like, a transporter of gas to other really, areas, to industry. So gas is really as important as really other, mainstream of our business in Emarat.
Absolutely. And interested to see, is also looking at the future for, the skills of your workforce and, what are you looking forward in terms of technology?
you know, uh, as you are aware is that, we are dealing really with customer, and for us really the customer satisfactions and becoming really a customer focused, customer centric require that, we have really to move away from the traditional, that how we could really make sure that the customers is, loyal to Emarat, and also we sure that by the time he, for example, leave his place, he can really see where is Emirati station are really located, what are really theirs. Everything is all about, apps, application, loyalties, using those, the AI, the facial intervention, the persona of every person, he or she, genders, everything. So we are really in that way because at the end of the day, is all about customers and the customer realities.
Interesting. And how do this customer focused attitude, how does that link with aspects of the future of energy you're quite excited about? Is this looking at sort of different style of service stations or?
In Emarat also, we have really two type of operation. We have really the traditional stations, but also now we thought that those traditional stations require a big areas. So what next? So we have really moved recently to really build or scale down those stations, what they call them really economized station, where they don't really require that much of a space, but also at the same time we can really build them quickly. This is really number one. Also number two, we're trying really to be in the mobility space. So also one of our trend, and try to make sure that the journey of a customer is more pleasant. Even when he comes to our C stores, he could really find the right product, the right services, the right coffee, and the right food to continue his journey.
Yeah. And also, I wanted to just quickly touch here then on, you launched your first two small scale E2 service stations. Like to hear a bit more about that and why you chose to put them in the locations you did.
As I said, because now in the past we have really a big land, but those land, as the UA is really getting bigger, you cannot find that space. Maybe you could really find that space on the highways, on the remote areas, but in the center of every emirates and city, you need really a smaller space. So we thought, why don't, for example, we scale down our station, maintain the same brand, the same surfaces, the same everything, and keep them really as a compact. And we have already launched about 5 to 6 stations this year, and the feedback that we have really came up with is very positive feedback.
That's really good. And I assume this positive feedback also leads to what the opportunities you see in the future of retail commercial businesses. Are you looking for opportunities to expand?
In fact, we are already really expanding, and we have really a presence in Egypt since 2006. When you, for example, travel from the UAE to any country, you will see the same playbook in terms of the brand, the services, everything. So nothing has been changed. And that's really our motive. So our expansion already there in Egypt, we're looking really at different, really, for example, countries that where we can really add and really build up on our expansions.
Great. And in terms of commercial opportunities, are you looking, around maybe lubricants? What?
In fact, also we do have really, for example, a lubricant. We have, for example, really an LPG car wash. But again, we'll try to really to look at the demand of the customers and in which station we could really, for example, see the demand, say, for example, for the lubricant. In fact, also we have really a partnership with our really IOC leader companies. So we are learning from each others.
Yeah, and that's an interesting point there about partnerships. I assume exploring new ways to do business, but keeping partnerships must be important for Emarat.
Indeed, indeed, because we can't really ignore our international IOC because they have the presence, they have really the reach out. So we are really trying to learn from them, have the right partnership, have the right really mix, and really the right DNA with them.
Absolutely. And so, to tie the end of this interview, how's Emarat preparing to adapt to this changing energy landscape? You've touched on a few things, but be interested to see maybe, looking at environmentally, sound initiatives, that kind of side of things.
No one really wonder about with this oil price. People they are trying to refrain or move away from the fuel to the EV electrical vehicle or for example the blue hydrogen. So we are really working on those. So most of our station are really geared toward EV. But as you remember, also EV require that you need really a very fast chargers. You need really the right environment. So we just want to make sure when a person he or she stop at Emarat and for example really charge his car, at least he has the right the places, the right product, and even sometimes the right environment to conduct his meeting while his car is being charged and he enjoy the coffee, he enjoy the breakfast and everything.
Absolutely. I mean, final one. Obviously, geopolitical issues, requiring everyone to re-evaluate, aren't they, where we are each month. So I assume, yeah, Emarat's doing that, and you're just looking out to the future.
Indeed, because we cannot really be in isolation. We really see and watch, and we have to adopt. We have to be very agile. We have to really, be very agile to any demand or requirement. So we cannot really wait and see. We have to be proactive.
Yeah. Well, it certainly sounds like you are, and it's exciting to hear all the opportunities you have at Emarat coming up. And I look forward to hearing more later in the year, maybe at ADIPEC.
Please do. It's really part of our really contributions that we try just to tell you where we are, where we stand, and how far we are from our rivals, because we are really in a competition. But at the end of the day, the customers and the customer satisfaction will dictate where he wants to go, to which station, and why. We will leave it to them to judge on us.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, Ali, I really appreciate you giving me your time to speak to me and sharing me some of your insights from your long, career in the energy industry and what your views on the future of the downstream industry and the retail business from Emarat.
It's my pleasure, and I always really, optimistic. And I think the future is theirs. Those geopolitical, as you mentioned, they will not last for longer. People will come back. The price will might really go down, and everybody will be happy. But we have really to be prepared for any, thing that might really happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Ali. And thanks everyone for watching. I look forward to bringing you more engaging conversations soon.